So like what you've done with this practice, it's absolutely fantastic. Like just signage. You know, when you go to a gym, one thing that stands out is signage. Things are clear. You know what they've written. It stands out. You know where things are, but at the same time, you don't feel like you're at the gym. And I'm getting that sense with your practice. How did that come about?
Like, I think it's because, you know, many things was influenced actually by my dad's vision.
Okay.
So my dad wanted to be a pilot for all of his life. No? Unfortunately, he's got around about a -10 prescription, and he also had some retinal tears and surgeries. So he could never pursue his dream as a job, being a pilot. So I started flying with my dad when I was very young.
Can you fly?
Well, not legally now, but I can, but it's not legal. So the first photo I had from myself being able to fly was when I was 14 years old. So I spent a lot of time with my dad and in the air, etc. And I kind of realized how vision influenced the rest of his life.
Okay.
And obviously, if anything happens to you, you're always kind of scared going to an optometrist or a dentist or a doctor and what. So when I came about the practice, I actually thought of my dad. And I thought of, if you come to any place and you're scared already because you don't know what the outcome is going to be, what is the person going to tell you, what's happening with your eyes, you don't want to be scared in that environment as well.
Okay.
So I wanted it to be like a homey feel, like a welcoming environment. I didn't want you to feel like you're at the optometrist.
I don't feel like I'm at the optometrist, but I'm enjoying being at the optometrist right now.
The equipment is there, but you know, I wanted to take off the edge of that a little bit. So that's why I kind of put part of my personality in here, and then the signage that I have, like the best thing about memories is making them. Create your own sunshine, be humble, work hard. It's amazing how people really pick up on these things, because the moment they sit in that chair, and if you observe what the patients are doing, they're always looking around. That's
like I am right now.
They do, yes. They kind of look around and they're searching because they feel uncertain and they're scared. And now while they're searching and looking around, you give them these bursts of motivation.
Love it.
And it immediately kind of calms them down. And then you can add on top of that, how are you, okay, how did you come here, etc. And I saw that so often, and it's amazing how many people would tell me, I really like the decor and I like the things that you've put there, and they would take photos of it.
Because one thing I'm impressed about is that you've made it about them, not about you. But your personality, like you said, it's coming out quite a lot. A lot of optometric practices, what I've noticed, the mistake that they make, it's all about the practice. And not about making the people that are coming to the practice feel like, wow, yes, I love being here.
Yes.
And one thing that stands out about all these small little phrases that you have and how you've positioned them, they bridge the cultural gap. You in Bloom, how does that play a role with regards how you communicate with the different types of people that come to your practice?
It's actually a very good question that you're having there, Obi, and especially me, you know, my husband being a farmer, I'm in Bloom here, I see a lot of Sotho speaking people in this practice, and there's always that cultural gap. Now, fortunately for me, being at the varsity, I've learned some Sotho, and I can, even though I can't speak it properly,
you can be able to conduct an eye examination.
Yes, and I've noticed one time there was a child sitting there and the parent, and then they were speaking to each other, and I was making a note, and as they were speaking to each other, I was listening, and I kind of answered, and the mother was like, "Did you understand?" And I even was more afraid because I'm like, I didn't notice I understood that what you were saying. So that helps quite a bit. And then I don't know if you saw the Nelson Mandela.
Yes. Absolutely love it.
I absolutely love that. So it's one of my friends in PE who made that for me. And it really attracts a lot of attention. And I think, like you're saying, I had to find a midway of reaching that cultural gap that I'm having. And the moment when people come in here and you do support an icon like Madiba, they already feel like, okay, I'm safe here.
Nice.
It does make them feel safe. And it's not just a sales technique, you know, I really feel that way.
You're not trying to sell anything.
Yes.
You're just literally making people feel like they belong here.
Exactly.
And that they can connect with something within the practice.
Exactly.
Now, I'm observing there's a lot going on here, but everything is in order. How do you deal with clutter? Like a lot of optometric practices, like right now, your office is also in the same room as your examination room, but there's no clutter, even though there's so much going on.
I feel like actually you caught me off guard here today, because I was already trying to put everything into place, because as it is now, to me it's cluttered. You know, in my 3rd year I was at an optometry practice doing our practicals that 2 or 3 weeks, and the optometrist was a man, and I to this day remember how dermakaar his office was. There was contact lenses everywhere. Expired contact lenses, everything just being stacked, and it kind of like got to me. I felt so suffocated in that place.
I hear you.
And when a patient comes in here, you don't know the personality of that person, huh? So the only person whom that's going to bother is the guy, the perfectionist, because they're going to pick up on it. The person that's not a perfectionist won't really notice if your office is clean or not, because to them it doesn't matter. So they're the safe option. But it's that perfectionist who comes in here and who doesn't feel safe if it's being cluttered. If it's clean and everything is on its place, then that person also feels safe.
You said something very, very important. You said, I caught you off guard and that you were busy getting things in order. I've noticed a lot of optometric practices leave the cleaning of the practice to the cleaning lady, and they don't have that sense of responsibility of saying, this is my space. I'm going to make sure that this is the space that I am in control of, and I want it to be in a certain way. And I can see that with your team, they've got that sense of, this is my front desk, this is my station. And so that's very, very important. I'm quite impressed with how you have built your business, making people feel welcomed as they're coming in. And wow, how far we've come, eh? It's been...
Thank you, yeah, it's
been
many
years.
But you know, we all learn along the way. One of the most interesting things from an eye exam, and I mean, well, maybe I'm going to step on toes or somebody's going to say there is no such thing, I don't know, is when I test the patient, and I've seen, especially in patients who are quite perfectionist now, if you do their sills, they would pick up on the small changes like immediately. You can set that thing as fine as possible, and they would literally pick it up like this, like this, like this. And by observation, I've learned that those people are the patients who are very set in their ways, who want everything to be straight. They would come in here and they would want to straighten the pictures on the wall. And afterwards I would ask them, I'm like, are you a kind of a perfectionist? Do you feel that things should be in a certain way? Like, yes, how did you know? And I can literally pick it up from their eye test. So there must be some kind of neurological link between the two. True. Because they see the fine detail, they would see the decor, they would see everything that they like.
In a particular way.
Yes, and that's the way that they've been wired. Naturally, they can't do anything about it, but you can pick it up from the eye exam.
Wow. I love what you've done here. I'm super excited to see what the next 5 years looks like for you. It was an impromptu visit.
It is.
As you can see,
this is me. I was happy you were here today.
This is me behind the suit and the tie. This is actually who I am on a day-to-day basis.
Remember, this is how I know you. This is how far we've come.
So I hope the people that are actually looking at this video interview, they're not going to judge me for my outfit, but the lockdown, I blame it on the lockdown that just forced me to be like this. But buddy, I'm so inspired by you, and I'm loving the equipment. I'm loving the level of excellence that you're doing or that you are having pertaining to your work. This is not a by the way thing, and that simply means that you're not looking at the numbers of people that are coming here. You're looking at the people and that every single person matters. How important is that for you?
Well, I think if I say how important, it's the most important thing for me. My patients aren't just numbers, ever. I have conversations here in this testing room. I've had profound conversations with many of my patients whom I've only seen for the first time that day, who've walked in here and they didn't feel well and they were just like heart sore, and they would come in here for a reason. And you can only have those patients if you are open to their conversation and open to what happened to them that day. I also have patients coming in here who steps through the door and they start screaming at the door. They haven't been in the practice ever, but they feel aggravated as they come through. And it's my job to make sure that they leave here with a smile, with a good pair of glasses, but it's my job to make sure that they leave here feeling better than what they did when they enter here. And I mean, it's difficult. Sometimes I feel like screaming back at them, but you would hold back, and when they leave, I would come perhaps and have a sigh of relief and thinking, wow, that was difficult and it took a lot from me. But it's my first priority to make sure that they feel as well as they see when they leave the shop.
I love that. I love that. Thank you very much for today. I didn't prepare you for anything. I didn't think we were going to be doing this. But when I saw you and got into the practice and I saw how the practice made me feel, I was like, wow, we need to record this and have the conversation, because there's a generation of young optometrists who are coming up. And we are at that age now where they're looking at us and they're like, you know what, I want to be like Liani. I want to be like so and so. And you have set the standard, you have set the bar, truly inspired, and I'm excited of what God is going to do in your life. I speak a blessing over your business, your family, your team as a whole. Everything that you touch will just exponentially grow to a whole nother level, my friend.
Thank you so much, Abby. I really do appreciate it. And coming from you, you've seen a lot, you've been a lot of places, and I truly take to heart what you tell me, and thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.